Tonight, we're going somewhere most of us have only seen in video games and Hollywood movies. We're going back to the Oregon Trail. The real one. If you learned about the Oregon Trail in school, you probably got the heroic version. Brave pioneers conquering the West. Wagon trains rolling across majestic landscapes. Families singing around campfires under starry skies. Maybe some dramatic river crossings. Maybe a tense encounter with Native Americans. Always adventure. Always purpose. Always moving forward. Here's what they didn't tell you. Nobody rode in the wagons. You walked. For 6 months. 2,000 miles on foot. Even the pregnant women walked. Even the children walked. The wagons were for supplies, not people. If you rode in the wagon, you'd arrive in Oregon with your organs scrambled from the rattling and your back permanently damaged from the constant jarring. So you walked. Every day. 15 miles a day. In the dust. The dust. Nobody mentions the dust. The wagons ahead of you kicked up a cloud of fine dirt that hung in the air and coated everything. Your clothes, your hair, your skin, the inside of your mouth. You breathed dust. You ate dust. You slept in dust. By the end of each day, you couldn't tell what color anyone's clothing had originally been. Everything was the same shade of brown-gray. And the boredom. The crushing, mind-numbing boredom. You weren't fighting off attackers or hunting buffalo or having adventures. You were walking. The same speed as the oxen, which was slower than you'd naturally walk. For 8 hours. Every day. For 6 months. With nothing to do except watch the ox in front of you and think about how much your feet hurt. River crossings were deadly, but not because of dramatic rapids. Because of stupid mistakes. Someone would misjudge the current. The wagon would tip. And suddenly 4 children were drowning because nobody knew how to swim and the current was too fast and the water was too cold, and by the time anyone reacted, it was over. This isn't the story you were told. The real Oregon Trail wasn't an adventure. It was a 6-month marathon of tedious labor, poor sanitation, terrible food, constant discomfort, and grinding routine. The same day, over and over and over, with death waiting patiently for anyone who made a mistake. But here's the thing that nobody tells you. The thing that might be the most surprising fact of all. Most families made it. Despite everything we just said. Despite the disease and the drownings and the exhaustion and the dust. Roughly 80% of people who started the journey finished it. They walked 2,000 miles. They crossed deserts and mountains. They forded rivers and survived storms. And most of them made it to Oregon. How? By doing the same boring, repetitive, unglamorous work every single day without fail. By establishing routines and sticking to them. By helping each other. By refusing to quit even when everything hurt. Tonight, we're going to walk through one day on that trail. Not a dramatic day. An ordinary day. The kind of day that happened hundreds of times and was never recorded because nothing remarkable happened. Just people doing the work. If you're here to fall asleep, you're exactly where you need to be. Maybe subscribe so you can find this channel again. And leave a comment telling me where you're listening from. Someone in Oregon. Maybe. Drifting off in the same state these pioneers were walking toward. Let's begin. It's July 1844. Somewhere in what will someday be called Wyoming Territory. But you don't know that. You don't know the names of territories or states. You don't even know exactly where you are. You just know you're somewhere between Fort Laramie and South Pass, and you've been walking for 73 days. The wake-up gunfires at 4 in the morning. Not a bell. Not a rooster. A gunshot. One of the men on night watch fires a single shot into the air and the sound cracks across the prairie like the sky splitting open. This is how every morning starts. Has started for 73 mornings. Will start for another 60 mornings until you reach Oregon. If you reach Oregon, you're lying under your family's wagon with your sisters. 3 of you squeezed together under 2 wool blankets that smell like smoke and sweat and dust. Your brother is on your other side. The baby is in the wagon above you with your mother, where it's slightly warmer. The ground beneath you is hard. You've been sleeping on bare earth for so long that you barely notice anymore, but there's a rock digging into your hip. You didn't move it last night because you were too tired to care. You're always too tired to care. The air is cold. July in Wyoming territory, at this altitude, still drops into the 40s at night. Your breath makes clouds. Nobody wants to move. You hear stirring from other wagons. 40 wagons in a circle. 140 people all waking up at the same moment. Low voices. Someone coughing. A baby crying. The sounds of people forcing their bodies to move when every muscle is screaming to stay down. Here's something nobody tells you about the Oregon Trail. You don't get used to waking up at 4 a.m. Your body never adjusts. Every single morning feels like torture. You've done this 73 times and it hasn't gotten easier. But you can't stay down. The wagon train leaves at 7 whether you're ready or not. 3 hours to wake up, rekindle the fire, cook breakfast, break camp, pack the wagon, yoke the oxen, and get into position in the line. 3 hours for tasks that should take 5 hours. You've seen families get left behind because they overslept or moved too slowly. The train doesn't wait. Your mother's voice comes from above. Time to get up. You push the blankets back. The cold hits you like a slap. Your youngest sister whimpers. The other one doesn't move. She's learned that if she pretends to be asleep, sometimes someone else does her work. Not today. I can see your eyes open, your mother says, and there's the faintest hint of humor in her voice. The first sound of the day that isn't pure exhaustion. You crawl out from under the wagon. The ground is wet with dew. Your hands come away cold and damp. You stand, brushing them on your dress. The same dress you've been wearing for 4 days because there's no time for laundry and no water to spare even if there were. Around you, the camp is coming to life in the pre-dawn darkness. Your father is already up. He's been on guard duty for the last 2 hours, walking the perimeter with a rifle. In 73 days, nothing has ever happened during his watch. No attacks, no thieves, no wolves. But someone has to do it. So the men take turns walking circles around the camp while everyone else sleeps. He's at the fire pit now, kneeling, starting the single most important task of every morning. Getting the fire going again. Here's something they don't tell you about life on the Oregon Trail. Keeping fire alive was more important than almost anything else. If the fire went out completely overnight, you had 2 options. Option 1, use flint and steel to start a new fire, which took anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour depending on conditions and luck, and which often didn't work at all if everything was damp. Option 2, walk to another family's wagon and ask for a burning stick to carry back, which meant admitting you'd failed at basic fire management and wasted precious time. So you didn't let the fire go out. Someone kept it alive all night. Before bed, you banked the coals, buried them in ash to slow the burning, and prayed they'd still be glowing by morning. Your father brushes away the top layer of ash very carefully. This reveals the coals underneath, still red, still alive. He's done this successfully for 73 consecutive mornings. One failure could mean disaster. He adds dry grass. Not just any grass. The brown, Completely dead stuff, because anything with moisture will smoke instead of ignite. He lays it directly on the coals in a loose pile. Fire needs air. Then he leans down and blows. You can hear his breath, soft and steady. The coals brighten from dull red to orange to yellow. The grass begins to smoke. He keeps blowing, patient, and then, there, a tiny flame. It's the best moment of every morning. That flame means warmth, means coffee, means breakfast, means you're going to make it through another day. Your father adds small twigs, then larger sticks. Within minutes, there's a real fire crackling and snapping, pushing back the cold and the dark. Your mother climbs down from the wagon with the baby on her hip. She's pregnant again. She hasn't said anything, but you can tell from the way she moves, from the way your father watches her with that worried expression. She has exactly 1 hour to make breakfast for 7 people before the wagon has to be packed. Here's what breakfast is every single morning: bacon, coffee, and if you're lucky, eggs. You are incredibly sick of bacon. Your family started with 200 pounds of it packed in a barrel. You've been eating it for breakfast and dinner every day since April. You still have about 80 pounds left, which means you'll be eating it for breakfast and dinner for the next 2 months. The smell of it makes you want to gag, but when your mother starts cooking it, your stomach growls anyway. You haven't eaten in 12 hours. You walked 15 miles yesterday. Your body doesn't care if you're sick of bacon. Your body wants calories. The bacon goes into the cast iron skillet. Some families threw their skillets away weeks ago to lighten the wagon load. Your mother refused. She said she wasn't cooking over open flames for 6 months, and your father knew better than to argue. The coffee water is boiling. Your mother adds grounds directly to the pot, no filter, and lets it boil for another minute. You'll drink around the grounds. Then she cracks eggs into the bacon grease. You still have eggs. This is remarkable. Most families ran out in the first month. But your mother rationed them carefully, and you still have about 2 dozen left. 1 egg per person for breakfast. The math is working out so far. The eggs sizzle and pop. The smell is incredible. While your mother cooks, your father is yoking the oxen. And this is where you learn something that Hollywood never shows you. Oxen are stupid and stubborn, and they hate mornings as much as you do. Your family has 4 oxen. You don't know their names. Your father just calls them the team. Each one weighs about 2,000 pounds. Without them, the wagon doesn't move. Without the wagon, you die. They spent the night inside the wagon circle, grazing on whatever grass they could find. Now your father has to get them out, yoke them in pairs, and hitch them to the wagon tongue. This should take 15 minutes. It usually takes 30. The problem is that oxen are not cooperative at 4:30 in the morning. Your father approaches the lead ox with a rope. The ox is chewing cud and staring at nothing. It doesn't acknowledge your father at all. Just keeps chewing. "Come on," your father says quietly. "Let's go." He loops the rope around the ox's horns and pulls. The ox doesn't move, just keeps chewing and staring. Your father pulls harder. The ox leans back, resisting. They stand like this for a full minute. Man versus ox. Neither one moving. This happens every single morning. Finally, your father gets behind the ox and pushes on its massive hindquarters. The ox takes 2 grudging steps forward, just enough to get its head in position for the yoke. Your father drops the heavy wooden beam over the ox's neck and pins it in place. 1 down. The second ox follows more easily. It's used to following the first. But the third one tries to wander off mid-yoke. and your father has to chase it down and drag it back by the rope. Here's what's remarkable. Your father does this calmly, patiently. He doesn't yell or hit the animals. He just persists. This is what pioneer life actually was, not dramatic heroics, but patient persistence in the face of stupid, frustrating obstacles. By the time all 4 oxen are yoked and chained to the wagon, your father's forehead is damp with sweat despite the cold. But it's done. All around you, 40 families are doing the same thing. 160 oxen being prepared simultaneously. The sound of chains rattling, men cursing under their breath, oxen lowing in protest. It's organized chaos. But it works. Back at the fire, your mother calls out, "Breakfast." There are no plates. You each get a tin cup for coffee, and you eat directly from the communal dishes. The bacon is divided. 7 people, 6 strips. You get most of 1 piece. It's crispy and salty and tastes exactly like every morning for 73 days. The eggs are better. Your mother has cooked them perfectly in the bacon grease. The yolk's still runny. You have 1 piece of hardtack, a brick-hard biscuit that's supposed to last the entire journey, and you use it to soak up the yolk. Here's something nobody mentions about hardtack. It's essentially indestructible. It's also essentially flavorless. It's flour and water, baked until all moisture is gone. You could drive a nail with it. But dipped in egg yolk, it's almost edible. The coffee is bitter and full of grounds. You're 9 years old and you've been drinking coffee every morning for 73 days because there's nothing else. No milk unless someone's cow is producing. No juice. No water except what's in the barrel, which needs to last until the next stream. You drink the coffee standing up. Everyone does. There's no time to sit. No time for conversation. Just fuel, consumed quickly, before the next task. Your father drains his cup in 3 gulps. "Time to pack," he announces. This is it. You have 4 to 5 minutes to break camp completely and get the wagon ready to roll. Families who are slow get left behind. You've seen it happen. Everything has a place. Your mother is religious about this. You and your sisters roll up the blankets you slept under. They're bulky and awkward, but you tie them tight with rope. These go in first, toward the front of the wagon, because you won't need them until tonight. The tent comes down. Your family has a small canvas tent for rainy nights. When it's clear, everyone sleeps under the wagon. The tent poles are 8 feet long and have to be laid flat in the wagon bed. The cooking equipment gets packed in a wooden box: skillet, coffee pot, tin cups, spoons. Your mother doesn't wash anything. There's no time and no water. She just wipes everything with a rag. Your father is dealing with the fire. He kicks dirt over the coals until they're completely smothered, then scatters the rocks. The wagon train has rules. Don't leave fires burning. Don't leave garbage. Don't make it obvious 140 people camped here. The last thing is the water barrel. It's 3/4 empty, which means it weighs about 80 pounds instead of 120. Your father and your oldest brother lift it together and strap it back onto the wagon side. Everything else, tools, spare parts, food barrels, personal belongings, stays packed from yesterday. The rule is, never fully unpack unless you have a rest day. Partial unpacking only. By 6:30, your wagon is ready. You look around. 40 wagons in various states of preparation. Some families are done and waiting. Some are scrambling. You see one mother chasing a toddler who's escaped toward the livestock. You see one man trying to fix something on his wagon that should have been fixed yesterday. At 6:45, The captain rides to the center of the circle and raises his hand. Everyone stops and looks. "Catch up," he shouts. "This is the command. Get in your assigned position. Now, your family is wagon 17. Middle of the train. This is actually the best position. The front wagons get the cleanest air, but their livestock eat all the best grass. The rear wagons get better grass, but breathe everyone else's dust all day. The middle is compromise. Your father climbs onto the wagon seat. Your mother sits beside him with the baby in her lap. You and your sisters prepare to walk. Because here's the thing they never show in the movies. You don't ride in the wagon. You walk beside it. At 7 o'clock exactly, the captain fires his pistol. The train begins to move. Your father cracks the whip in the air, not hitting the oxen, just the sound, and calls out, "Gee up! Gee up!" The oxen lean into their yokes. The chains go taut. The wagon groans and lurches forward. You start walking. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. This is your life now. This is what the Oregon Trail actually is. Not adventure, not exploration, not conquering the West. Walking. The first hour is always the easiest. Your legs are fresh. The air is cool. The sun is just rising, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. The landscape around you is beautiful in a stark way. Rolling hills covered in sagebrush and buffalo grass, mountains visible in the distance. You fall into rhythm immediately. The wagon rolls beside you with a steady creak and rattle. The oxen plod at exactly 2 miles per hour, which is your natural walking pace. You could walk faster, but you can't. The oxen set the speed, and you match them. Your sisters are beside you. The 7-year-old is singing quietly to herself. The 5-year-old is dragging a stick through the dirt, making a line that stretches behind you. Your brothers range farther out. The 14-year-old walks ahead with the older boys, carrying his rifle, pretending to be a man. The 11-year-old tries to keep up but usually ends up alone somewhere in between. The wagons stretch out ahead and behind. 40 white canvas tops moving slowly across the prairie. You can hear other families talking, children laughing, someone singing a hymn. For this first hour, there's almost optimism. A new day. Progress. Oregon a little closer. You think about Oregon. They say it's green there. They say it rains so much the grass grows tall and the trees block out the sky. They say you can claim 640 acres for free just for being there. Your father talks about the farm he'll build. Your mother talks about neighbors, a church, a school. You just want to stop walking. The sun climbs higher. By 8 o'clock, the pleasant coolness is gone. By 9 o'clock, the dust is rising. This is what nobody tells you about the Oregon Trail. The dust. The wagons ahead of you kick up a cloud of fine, powdery dirt that hangs in the air. It drifts back on the wind. It gets everywhere. In your eyes, in your nose, in your mouth, in your hair, between your teeth. You tie a bandana over your face like your mother taught you. It doesn't help much. You can still taste the dust. You can still feel it grinding when you swallow. By 10 o'clock, everyone in your family is the same shade of brown-gray. You can't tell what color anyone's clothing originally was. Everything is coated. Your throat is raw. Your eyes burn. You want water, but the barrel has to last until the next stream, and nobody knows when that will be. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. So you keep your mouth shut and breathe through the bandana and walk. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. You've been walking for 3 hours. You've covered maybe 6 miles. You have 9 more miles to go before tonight's camp. Your feet hurt. Your legs hurt. The sun is beating down. There's no shade anywhere on these plains. Just grass and sage and the white wagons and the endless blue sky pressing down. But you keep walking. This is the Oregon Trail. Not the dramatic moments. Just this. Walking. Dust. Heat. The slow, grinding, hypnotic rhythm of 15 miles a day, every day, for 6 months. Here's what's remarkable. You're not thinking about giving up. None of the families around you are thinking about giving up. You're just doing it. One foot in front of the other. Because that's what you do. That's what everyone does. Most families make it. That's the secret. Most people who start this journey finish it. Not because they're heroes. Not because they're special. But because they do this boring, repetitive, unglamorous work every single day without stopping. And right now, in this moment, the morning is still young. The worst heat is still ahead. The dust will get worse. Your feet will hurt more. But there's something almost peaceful about it. The rhythm of the walk. The familiar creak of your family's wagon. The sound of your sister's voices beside you. Your mother's silhouette on the wagon seat. The baby on her lap, both of them swaying slightly with the motion. You look at the mountains in the distance. They're closer than yesterday. Every day, a little closer. Oregon is out there, and you're walking toward it. One step at a time. The morning march. By 9 o'clock, you've been walking for 2 hours. You have 6 more hours to go before camp tonight. Here's what nobody prepares you for about walking 15 miles a day. It's not the distance that breaks you. It's the speed. 2 miles per hour. That's the pace of oxen pulling a 2,000-pound wagon. It's slower than you naturally walk. Slower than feels comfortable. Your body wants to speed up, to stretch your legs, to move at a human pace. But you can't. You have to match the oxen. You have to stay with your wagon. So you walk slowly, deliberately, one foot in front of the other at a pace that feels wrong, that makes your muscles work in strange ways, that creates aches in places you didn't know could ache. And you do this for 8 hours, every day, for 6 months. Your feet hurt in ways you didn't know feet could hurt. Not sharp pain. That would almost be easier. Just a constant, grinding ache that starts in your heels and radiates up through your ankles, your calves, your knees, your boots, and you're lucky to have boots. Some children are walking in shoes that are falling apart, are worn thin. You can feel every pebble through the soles. You've tried everything to make it better. Stuffing grass in your boots for cushioning. Walking in your stockings when the boots become unbearable. Soaking your feet in cold water at night when there's water to spare, which there usually isn't. Nothing helps. Your feet just hurt. All the time. You go to sleep with them aching. You wake up with them aching. And then you walk on them for 8 more hours. Here's what you learn. Pain becomes normal. Not easier. Just normal. You stop expecting it to go away. You stop waiting for relief. You just accept that this is what your body feels like now, and you keep moving. The wagons ahead of you stretch out in a long line, maybe a quarter mile from first to last. Close enough to see, far enough that you're walking in the dust cloud of the 16 wagons ahead of you. The dust is the worst part. Worse than the walking. Worse than the heat. It's not like dirt from a road. It's finer than that. More like powder. It rises up from the wheels and the oxen hooves and hangs in the air, and there's no wind today, so it just floats there, waiting for you to walk through it. You breathe it. You taste it. It coats your tongue, gets in your teeth, makes your throat raw. Your bandana helps a little, but not much. You can still feel the grit on your lips, can still taste the minerals when you swallow. By noon, your spit will be brown. And there's nothing you can do about it except keep walking. Here's something the history books never mention. What do you think about for 8 hours while you're walking? At first, back in Missouri, back when this was new, you tried to stay alert. You looked for animals, for landmarks, for anything interesting. You talked to your sisters, played games, sang songs. That lasted maybe a week. Now, in week 11, you've stopped trying to stay entertained. Your mind just wanders. Sometimes you think about Oregon. You try to imagine what the farm will look like. A real house with a wood floor. Your own room, maybe. A bed instead of the ground. You try to picture it, but you can't really. It's been so long since you slept in a bed that you can't quite remember what it feels like. Sometimes you think about Missouri, the house you left behind. Your grandmother who cried when you left. The creek behind the house where you used to catch crawdads. You wonder if someone else is living there now. You wonder if they're taking care of the apple tree in the yard. Sometimes you count things. Steps. Mostly. You try to count to 1,000. You never make it. You always lose track somewhere around 300 and have to start over. Sometimes you make up stories. You're not really here. You're someone else. Sometimes you think about nothing at all. Your mind just empties. You watch your feet. Left, right, left, right. You watch the ground pass beneath you. You watch the ox's tail swish at flies. You exist in a kind of trance where time stops meaning anything. Your mother told you once, back when you asked how much longer until Oregon, that the journey would teach you patience. You didn't understand what she meant then. You understand now. Patience isn't waiting for something to happen. Patience is accepting that nothing is going to happen. That today will be the same as yesterday. That tomorrow will be the same as today. That the only way through is to stop expecting anything different and just endure. You're learning to endure. The rhythm of the train. The wagon train has a rhythm. You've learned to feel it without thinking about it. Up ahead, maybe 8 wagons in front of you. Someone's wagon hits a rock or a rut. You hear the bang and the shout. The wagon slows. The wagon behind it slows. The slowdown ripples back through the line like a wave. Your father doesn't even need to say anything. The oxen feel the change in pace and adjust. The wagon slows. You slow with it. Everyone slows. Then the problem is fixed. The wagon rolls over the obstacle or around it, and the pace picks back up. The acceleration ripples forward through the line. Within a minute, everyone's back to normal speed. This happens maybe 20 times a day. The train is constantly adjusting, constantly reacting. It's like a long snake made of wagons, bending and flexing as it moves across the prairie. You've learned to read the train. When wagons bunch up too close, it means trouble ahead, probably a stream crossing or a bad section of trail. When they spread out, it means easy ground and good time being made. Right now, the train is spread out. That's good. It means the trail is clear and you're making steady progress. You can hear the family behind you. The father is singing something, not a hymn, just a made-up tune with no words. His voice is rough but not unpleasant. His children are arguing about something. You can't hear the words, just the tone. The mother tells them to hush. Ahead of you, someone's dog is barking. Dogs aren't common on the trail. Most families left them behind in Missouri. Too much trouble to feed, but a few brought them anyway. This one sounds young, energetic. You hear children laughing, probably chasing it. Your own family is quiet. Your father and mother occasionally speak to each other in low voices, but you can't hear what they're saying from down here on the ground. Your sisters have stopped singing. They're just walking, same as you. Your youngest sister, the 5-year-old, is starting to lag. You can see her feet dragging. She's tired. She's always tired. 5 is young for this journey. Some families carried children this young in the wagon, but your family can't spare the weight. She has to walk. You slow your pace slightly, let her catch up. When she's beside you, you take her hand. She squeezes it gratefully. You walk together for a while, hand in hand, and neither of you says anything. This is what family means on the trail. Not grand gestures, not declarations, just small kindnesses. Holding a hand, slowing your pace, sharing the last sip of water in your cup even though you're just as thirsty. The trail itself. Here's what the trail actually looks like. Disappointing. You expected something official. Something that looked like a road. Maybe. Back in Missouri, there were roads. Dirt roads, yes, but roads nonetheless. Clear paths that went from town to town. The Oregon Trail isn't like that. It's just where wagons have gone before. That's all. You can see the ruts where wheels have worn grooves into the earth. You can see where grass has been trampled down. But in places, the trail disappears entirely. You just aim for the next landmark and hope you're going the right way. And the trail isn't one path. It's many paths. When the ground gets too chewed up by wagon wheels, people start driving beside the main rut. Then beside that. Pretty soon there are 5 or 6 parallel trails, all heading west, all equally valid. You can tell how many wagons have come this way by how many ruts there are. In some places, near river crossings, near forts, the earth is torn up like a plow went through it. In other places, you can barely tell anyone's passed this way at all. Right now, you're following a single clear rut. The ground is hard-packed dirt with patches of grass. The walking is easy, at least. No rocks to trip over. No mud to slog through. But that's going to change. You can see it ahead. Maybe half a mile in front of the train, the land dips down. That means water. Either a creek or a low spot where rain collects. And water means mud. You watch the wagons ahead of you reach the dip and slow down. You hear shouting. Someone's wagon is stuck. This happens almost every day. Your father sees it too. He's already preparing. He's checking the oxen's yoke, making sure everything's tight. He's gauging the depth of the mud, trying to decide if he should stay in the rut or try to go around. As you get closer, you can see what happened. One of the wagons tried to go straight through and sank up to its axles. The oxen are straining, pulling, but the wagon won't budge. The wheels are buried in thick, black mud that looks like it goes down forever. Other wagons are rooting around, but that means leaving the trail. That means driving through untested ground where rocks might be hiding, where the earth might give way, where anything could go wrong. Your father makes a decision. He's going around. He steers the oxen to the left, off the trail entirely. The wagon lurches as it leaves the rut. You hear something shift in the wagon bed, probably one of the food barrels sliding. Your mother says something sharp to your father, but he doesn't respond. The ground here is rougher. Clumps of sage, rocks. The wagon bounces and jolts. You have to watch your footing carefully because if you trip and fall, the wagon won't stop. Your father won't even know you've fallen until you don't answer when he calls. The oxen don't like it. They're used to the rut, used to following the wagon ahead. This new path makes them nervous. They keep trying to veer back toward the trail. Your father has to constantly correct them. Gee, gee, he calls, snapping the whip in the air. You're holding your younger sister's hand tighter now. She's scared. You can feel her trembling. And then you're past it. Back on solid ground. Back in the rut. The wagon levels out. Your father exhales. Behind you, the stuck wagon is still stuck. Men from other families have stopped to help. They're unloading the wagon to lighten it, carrying barrels and furniture and setting them in the grass. It's going to take them an hour at least. Your train doesn't wait. Can't wait. The captain made that clear on day one. The train moves on schedule. If you can't keep up, you get left behind and catch up later. You watch the men working as your wagon rolls past. You wonder if they'll make it. You wonder what you'd do if it was your wagon stuck in the mud. But it's not your wagon. Your wagon is moving. And you're walking beside it. Left foot. Right foot. Left foot. Right foot. Always walking. By 10:30, the sun is brutal. There's no shade on the prairie. No trees except along creeks. And you're not near a creek. Just open grassland rolling away in every direction under a sky so blue it hurts to look at. The heat comes up from the ground and down from the sky and presses in from all sides. You feel it on your face, on your neck, on your arms through the fabric of your dress. You feel it in your lungs when you breathe. Your mouth is dry. Your tongue feels thick. You want water so badly you can think of nothing else. But the water barrel is for emergencies. For cooking. For the baby. Not for children who are just thirsty. You've learned to manage thirst the way you've learned to manage everything else on the trail. By accepting it. By understanding that discomfort is just part of the day. Every day. And there's no point complaining because no one can fix it. Some of the adults are suffering more than you. You see the man 2 wagons ahead stumbling. He's been sick. You heard someone say cholera. But nobody says that word out loud because cholera means death. He's still walking, but barely. His wife is beside him, holding his arm, practically dragging him. You wonder if he'll make it to Oregon. You wonder these things without much emotion. You've seen people die on the trail. Not many. Your family has been lucky, but enough. A child from dysentery in week 3. An old woman whose heart just stopped in week 7. A man who fell under his wagon wheels in week 9. Death isn't abstract anymore. It's just another thing that happens. Like rain or dust or oxen refusing to move in the morning. The heat makes time stretch. Minutes feel like hours. You've been walking forever. You'll be walking forever. There was never a time when you weren't walking, and there will never be a time when you stop. And then, ahead, you see it. The wagons are stopping. Noonin. The best word in the English language. It's not quite noon yet, maybe 11:30, but the captain has found a good spot and called the halt. You hear his voice carrying back through the line. Noon halt. 1 hour. The wagons pull off the trail into a rough cluster. Not a full circle like at night, just a loose grouping. The oxen are unyoked immediately. They need rest and grazing more than anyone. You stop walking. For the first time in 4.5 hours, you stop moving. Your legs almost don't know how to stand still. They want to keep going. Like they've forgotten any other option. You find a spot in the shade of your family's wagon and sit down. Just sit. The relief is so intense it's almost painful. Your sisters collapse beside you. Your youngest sister lies flat on her back, arms and legs spread out, staring at the sky. She looks like she might cry. She doesn't, but she looks like she might. Your mother is dealing with the baby, who's been crying for the last hour. Your father is tending the oxen, checking their hooves, making sure none of them are lame. If an ox goes lame, you're in serious trouble. You can't continue with 3 oxen. You'd have to buy or trade for another, and you've already used most of your trading goods. Noonin is 1 hour. 60 minutes. It's not long enough. It's never long enough. But it's all you get. Nothing hot. No fire. No cooking. Fire takes time to build and time to put out, and you don't have that time. You eat cold food. Whatever's available, whatever's quick. Your mother brings out hardtack and dried meat. The hardtack is the same as always. Hard as stone, flavorless, indestructible. The dried meat is better. It's tough and salty and you have to chew it for a long time before you can swallow, but it's protein. It's calories. You also get a dipperful of water from the barrel. 1 dipper. Maybe a cup and a half. It's warm and tastes metallic from the barrel, but it's water. You drink it slowly, trying to make it last, but it's gone in seconds. You want more. Everyone wants more. The barrel is 3/4 empty and won't be refilled until you find another stream. Your father is walking around the wagon, checking wheels. This is part of the daily routine. Wagon wheels are held together with wooden spokes and an iron rim, and the heat makes the wood shrink. If a spoke comes loose, the wheel collapses. If the wheel collapses, you're stranded. He's also greasing the axles. This has to be done every few days or the friction will cause the axle to overheat and catch fire. Yes, catch fire. You've seen it happen. A wagon just bursts into flames from the inside because the axle got too hot. Everything gone in minutes. Your father carries a bucket of axle grease, a mixture of tar and animal fat, and he applies it liberally to each axle, working it into the wood. His hands are black with the stuff. It never fully washes off. His hands have been black since Missouri. Around you, other families are doing the same things. Resting, eating, checking equipment. Some of the younger children are playing a game, chasing each other between wagons. They have more energy than you do. You don't understand where they get it. Some of the men are talking in a group, probably discussing the route ahead. There's some debate about whether to take the main trail or a cutoff someone heard about. Cutoffs promise to save time, but they're risky, unproven. Several families have died on cutoffs that turned out to be dead ends or impassable terrain. Your father doesn't join the discussion. He's not a decision maker. He just follows the captain's orders and hopes for the best. Your mother is writing in her diary. She does this almost every day during noonin. She has a small leather-bound book and a pencil, and she records the day's events in tiny, cramped handwriting. Miles traveled. Weather. Notable events. Who's sick? Who died? She's writing fast because the hour is already half over. You lie back in the shade and close your eyes. Just for a minute. Just to rest. Catch up. Catch up. The captain's voice cuts through your half-sleep. The hour is over. Time to move. Your body doesn't want to stand. Your muscles have stiffened during the rest. Your feet, which had finally stopped throbbing, start throbbing again the moment you put weight on them. But you stand. Everyone stands. Because the train is moving whether you're ready or not. The oxen are yoked again. The process goes faster this time because the oxen are tired and less resistant. They know the routine. Your father climbs back onto the wagon seat. Your mother tucks the diary away and settles the baby on her lap. You take your position beside the wagon. Your sisters take theirs. Your brothers range out to their usual spots. At 12:15, the train starts moving again. You have 5.5 more hours of walking until tonight's camp. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. The afternoon is going to be worse than the morning. It always is. The heat will peak around 2 or 3 o'clock. The dust will be thicker because everyone's tired and the oxen are moving slower, which means more time in the dust cloud. Your feet will hurt more. Your legs will hurt more. Your throat will be raw. Your eyes will burn. You'll want water and there won't be any. You'll want to stop and you can't. But here's what you know. You'll make it. You'll make it because you've made it every day for 73 days. You'll make it because you have no choice. You'll make it because the only alternative is giving up. And giving up means dying, and you're not ready to die. You're 9 years old and you're tougher than you ever thought possible. The wagon creaks. The oxen plod. Your feet hit the ground in rhythm. And you walk. Toward Oregon. Toward the promise of something better. Toward the hope that all of this suffering means something. But right now, in this moment, you're not thinking about Oregon. You're not thinking about anything except the next step. And the step after that. And the step after that. This is the Oregon Trail. Not adventure. Not heroism. Not conquering the West. Just walking. One foot in front of the other. For 6 months. Until you get there or you don't. The afternoon heat. The afternoon is when the trail stops pretending to be tolerable. By 1 o'clock, the temperature is pushing 90 degrees. Maybe higher. You don't have a thermometer, and it wouldn't matter if you did. Hot is hot. The sun is directly overhead now, which means there's no angle to hide from it. It beats straight down on the top of your head, on your shoulders, on the canvas wagon top beside you. The canvas radiates heat like a stove. Here's something nobody tells you about heat. It makes you stupid. Your thoughts get slow and thick. You forget what you were thinking about mid-thought. You lose track of time completely. Minutes stretch into hours or collapse into seconds and you can't tell which. Your younger sister stumbles. Not over anything. Just stumbles because her legs aren't working right anymore. You catch her arm before she falls. She looks at you with glazed eyes and doesn't say anything. You know that look. It's the look everyone gets in the afternoon heat. The look that says, I am a body moving forward because bodies move forward, but my mind is somewhere else. Somewhere cool. Somewhere with water. Somewhere that isn't here. The dust is worse now. Not because there's more of it, but because you're too tired to keep your bandana in place. It keeps slipping down. You keep pulling it back up. Eventually you stop trying. You just breathe the dust and taste it and let it coat your throat. Some people are falling behind. You can see it happening. The train is stretching out. The gaps between wagons growing longer. The families at the rear are struggling. Their oxen are moving slower. The people are moving slower. The captain will call a halt if someone falls too far behind. But he won't wait long. Can't wait long. There's a schedule to keep. Miles to make. Oregon doesn't get any closer if you stop. You've been walking for 6 hours now. Your feet have gone beyond pain into something else. Not numbness exactly, but a kind of distant throb that feels like it's happening to someone else's feet. Your legs are moving automatically. You don't tell them to move. They just do. Here's what's strange. You could stop. Right now. You could just sit down on the ground and refuse to get up. But you don't. Nobody does. Because everyone around you is suffering exactly as much as you are. And they're all still walking. Your mother is walking, and she's pregnant and carrying the baby. Your father is walking despite the fact that his boots fell apart 3 days ago and has wrapped his feet in canvas and tied it with rope. The family behind you is walking even though their youngest child has dysentery and they have to stop every hour to deal with it. The family ahead of you is walking even though their father died 5 days ago and they buried him in an unmarked grave and kept going because what else could they do? Everyone is walking. So you walk. The landscape is changing. Slowly, over hours and days, but definitely changing. Back in Missouri, there were trees. Forests green everywhere. Water everywhere. The land felt alive. On the plains, the land feels empty. Not dead exactly, but sparse. The grass is brown more than green. The trees only grow along water sources. The sky is so big it makes you feel small. But now, in Wyoming territory, something new is appearing: rocks. Not little rocks. Big rocks. Boulders the size of your family's wagon. Some of them balanced on top of each other in ways that seem impossible, like giants were playing with them. The land is rising, too. You've been climbing for days without really noticing. But when you look back east, which you try not to do because looking back means thinking about how far you've come and how far you still have to go, you can see the plains spreading out below you, flat and brown and endless. Ahead, the mountains are getting closer. Not close enough to reach. Not yet, but closer than they were in Kansas. Closer than they were last week. The mountains are both beautiful and terrifying. Beautiful because there's something different. Something that breaks up the monotony of the plains. Terrifying because you have to cross them. You have to get loaded wagons over passes that look, from here, utterly impossible. But other people have done it. Thousands of people. You've seen the evidence. The ruts in the trail get deeper and more numerous the farther west you go. Sometimes you pass grave markers. Sometimes you pass abandoned belongings. Sometimes you pass entire wagons that broke down and were left behind because there was no way to fix them and no animals to pull them. These things should be frightening. And they are. But they're also proof. Proof that people came this way. Proof that some of them made it. Proof that the trail leads somewhere. You're walking past something right now. A pile of furniture beside the trail. A table. 4 chairs. A chest of drawers. Beautiful furniture. Handmade. Left here because the family needed to lighten the load. You've seen this before. The trail is littered with abandoned belongings. Books. Clothing. Tools. Cookware. Even pianos. You passed 3 pianos in the last month, sitting beside the trail in various states of decay, waiting for weather to finish destroying them. Here's what's remarkable. Nobody stops to take them. Not because they don't need them. Everyone needs everything. Your family could use a table, could use chairs, could definitely use the chest of drawers. But you can't take them because your wagon is already at maximum weight. Adding anything means removing something else. And everything in your wagon is already essential. The food barrels, the water barrel, the tools, the spare axle, the tent, the bedding. There's no room for luxuries. Not even free luxuries sitting beside the trail. So you walk past the furniture and you don't take it. And in 6 months some other family will walk past it. And they won't take it either. And eventually it will just rot into the ground and become part of the landscape. The West is being built on abandoned belongings. On things people thought they needed but turned out not to need. On the gap between what you think life requires and what it actually requires. You're learning what life actually requires. Food, water, shelter, and the ability to keep moving forward no matter how much it hurts. Everything else is optional. At 2:30, the train reaches a river. Not a creek. Not a stream. A river. Maybe 40 feet across, moving fast, the water dark and opaque so you can't see the bottom. The train stops. The captain rides ahead to assess the crossing. This is what everyone's been dreading since morning. River crossings are where things go wrong, where wagons tip, where oxen panic, where children drown. You've done 3 river crossings so far. One was easy, shallow water, firm bottom, no problems. One was difficult, deeper water, strong current, but everyone made it across. One was a disaster, a wagon tipped, a family lost half their supplies, and a woman broke her arm when she fell. You don't know which kind this will be yet. The captain returns after 15 minutes. He's made his decision. We cross here, he shouts. Cork your wagons. Check your loads. We go one at a time. Corking means making the wagon as watertight as possible. Your father has done this before. He has a bucket of tar that he spreads along the seams of the wagon bed, sealing any gaps. Then he checks that everything inside is tied down or packed away high where water can't reach it. The food barrels go to the highest point in the wagon. The tools stay low. If they get wet, it's not the end of the world. Your personal belongings, the few clothes you have, your mother's diary, the family Bible, go in a canvas sack that your mother clutches against her chest. The captain is organizing the crossing. The strongest oxen teams go first. They'll test the bottom, find the best path through. Everyone else follows the same route. Your family is wagon 17. That means you wait, and wait, and watch. The first wagon enters the water. The oxen resist. They always resist. Water scares them, but the driver is experienced. He keeps them moving forward. The water rises up the oxen's legs, up to their bellies, up to the bottom of the wagon bed. The current hits the wagon and pushes it sideways. The wheels lift slightly. For a moment, it looks like it might tip. Your heart stops. Everyone's heart stops. But the oxen pull harder. The wheels find purchase on the bottom. The wagon steadies. And then they're across. Safe on the far bank. 1 down. 39 to go. The second wagon has problems. Halfway across, one of the oxen panics. It tries to turn around, which pulls the other oxen sideways, which swings the wagon perpendicular to the current. Water starts pouring over the upstream side. Men on both banks are shouting instructions. The driver is shouting at the oxen. The oxen are bellowing. The wagon is tilting. And then men are in the water. 4 or 5 of them, wading out to the wagon, pushing against the downstream side, trying to straighten it out. The water is up to their chests. The current is strong enough that they're struggling to stand. Somehow, they get the wagon straight. Somehow, the oxen start pulling again. Somehow, everyone makes it across. But it takes 20 minutes. 20 minutes of terror and shouting and struggle. The next 15 wagons cross without incident. It's almost boring. You start to relax. Start to think maybe this won't be so bad. That's when wagon 12 tips over. Nobody knows why it tips. Maybe a wheel hits a hole. Maybe the current shifts. Maybe the load was unbalanced. It doesn't matter why. One moment the wagon is crossing normally. The next moment it's on its side in the middle of the river. The oxen are pulled down with it. They're bellowing, thrashing, trying to get their heads above water. The chains connecting them to the wagon are dragging them under. The people, a family of 6, were walking beside the wagon. Now they're in the water. The father is trying to reach the children. The mother is screaming. Men are running into the river from both sides. Your father is one of them. He doesn't even hesitate. He just drops the rope he's holding and runs. You watch from the bank. Your hands are clenched so tight your fingernails are cutting into your palms. The water is chaos. Thrashing bodies. Shouting. The overturned wagon is being pushed downstream by the current. The oxen are still attached to it. Still being dragged. Someone gets a knife to the chains. Cuts them. The oxen are free. They scramble to shore, terrified, their eyes rolling white. The children. Where are the children? You see one. A boy, maybe 7. Someone's pulled him out. He's coughing up water but he's alive. Another child. A girl. Also safe. But there's a third. The smallest one. A toddler. Where is the toddler? The father is diving under the overturned wagon. Coming up. Gasping. Diving again. Someone else is diving. And again. And then the father surfaces with something in his arms. The toddler. Limp. Not moving. They carry the child to shore. Everyone gathers around. You can't see what's happening, but you can hear the father's voice. He's not screaming. He's begging. Please. 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 Your mother turns you away. Makes you look somewhere else. Don't watch, she says quietly. But you already know. You've seen death before. You know what that limpness means. After a while, the crowd around the family breaks up. People return to their wagons slowly, silently. Nobody talks. The family is sitting on the bank. The father is holding the small body. The mother is rocking back and forth. The 2 surviving children are clinging to her. They've lost the toddler. They've lost the wagon. They've lost everything they owned except what they're wearing. The captain approaches them, talks to them quietly. You can't hear what he's saying, but you can guess. He's asking what they want to do. Bury the child here? Turn back? Continue with another family? They're going to continue. They have to. Turning back is just as deadly as going forward. They'll double up with another family. Sleep under someone else's wagon. Share someone else's food until Oregon. If they make it to Oregon, the crossing continues. Because it has to. Because 30+ wagons are still on this side and they all need to get across before dark. Your wagon's turn comes at 4 o'clock. Your father positions the oxen at the water's edge. He's checked everything 3 times. The tar is sealing the wagon bed. The load is balanced. The chains are secure. Stay close to the wagon, he tells you and your sisters. If the current takes you, grab the wagon. Don't let go. You nod. You can't speak. Your throat is too tight. The oxen enter the water. They resist, just like all the others. Your father snaps the whip. Not hitting them. Just the sound. Get up. Get up. They move forward. The water rises up your legs. It's shockingly cold. Mountain runoff. The current pushes against you, strong and insistent. The water is up to your waist now. You can't touch bottom anymore. You're holding the side of the wagon with both hands. Your sisters are beside you, doing the same. The wagon is floating slightly. The wheels are still touching bottom, but barely. You feel the current trying to push the whole thing sideways. Your father is shouting at the oxen. Your mother is gripping the wagon seat with white knuckles, the baby crushed against her chest. The deepest part is in the middle. The water reaches your chest. Your feet lose contact with the bottom completely. You're clinging to the wagon, letting it pull you across. The current is terrifying. You can feel its power, It's indifference. It doesn't care if you live or die. It's just water moving downhill, and you're in the way. But the oxen are strong. Your father is experienced. The wagon is well balanced. You make it to the far side. The wheels find purchase on the bank. The oxen pull the wagon up out of the water. You scramble after it, your dress soaked and heavy, your legs shaking. You're across. You're alive. You collapse on the grass and just breathe. By the time all the wagons are across, it's after 5 o'clock. The sun is getting low. The captain is anxious to find a campsite before dark. The train moves forward, but everyone is exhausted. The crossing took 3 hours. 3 hours of terror and tragedy and cold water. Everyone is soaked. Everyone is drained. The captain finds a spot a mile past the river. It's not ideal. The grass is thin, the ground is rocky, but it's flat and there's water access and night is coming. Circle up, he shouts. The wagons arrange themselves in the familiar circle. 40 wagons, tongues pointing inward, forming a corral for the livestock. This is home for the night. It's 5:30. You've been walking for 10.5 hours. You've covered 15 miles. You want to collapse. Want to sleep right here on the ground without unpacking, without eating, without doing anything. But you can't. There's still work to do. The oxen need to be unyoked. They need water. They need to graze. Your father and your brothers lead them to the river. Let them drink their fill. The camp needs to be set up. The bedding needs to be unrolled. The fire needs to be built. And most importantly, dinner needs to be cooked. Because you haven't eaten anything hot since breakfast. That was 12 hours ago. Your body is running on hardtack and dried meat, and it's not enough. You need calories. You need warmth. You need food. Your mother is already moving, already working, even though she's as exhausted as anyone. She's gathering fuel for the fire. And here's another thing they don't tell you about the trail. There's no wood on the plains. No trees. No fallen branches. Nothing to burn. Except buffalo chips. Dried buffalo dung. It's everywhere on the plains, left behind by the massive herds. It dries in the sun and becomes hard and light, and it burns surprisingly well. Hot and clean, with very little smell. You've been burning buffalo chips since Kansas. You're not even disgusted by it anymore. It's just fuel. You and your sisters walk out from the wagon circle, looking for chips. You need an armful to cook dinner. More if you want the fire to last into the evening. You find them easily. They're everywhere, scattered across the grass like brown pancakes. You pile them in your skirt, carrying them carefully back to camp. Your mother has cleared a spot for the fire and arranged rocks in a circle. She takes the chips and stacks them carefully, leaving air gaps for circulation. Your father returns with flint and steel. Building a fire from scratch takes time, but he's good at it now. Within 5 minutes, there's a small flame. Within 10 minutes, there's a real fire. The heat feels like salvation. Dinner is the same as every dinner. Bacon, beans, and coffee. Your mother cooks the bacon first in the cast iron skillet. 6 strips for 7 people. The smell makes your mouth water despite the fact that you're so sick of bacon you could scream. While the bacon cooks, she opens a jar of beans. Your family started with 50 pounds of dried beans, packed in barrels. Each night, your mother soaks beans in water overnight so they'll be soft enough to cook the next day. These beans have been soaking since last night in a covered pot. She dumps them into the skillet with the bacon grease and lets them heat through. This is dinner. Bacon, beans, and coffee. The same dinner you've had for 73 nights. There's no variation. No vegetables. They spoiled weeks ago. No bread. There's no time to bake bread and you're out of flour anyway. No fruit. You ate the last of the dried apples 3 days ago. Just bacon and beans and coffee. But tonight, after the river crossing, after the child who drowned, after 10.5 hours of walking, it tastes like the best meal you've ever eaten. You eat sitting on the ground around the fire. Your plate is a tin plate, dented and scratched. Your spoon is a wooden spoon your father carved back in Missouri. The beans are hot and salty and the bacon fat makes them rich. You eat slowly, trying to make it last. Trying to fool your stomach into thinking it's getting more than it actually is. The baby is fussy. Your mother is trying to nurse her while also eating her own dinner. The baby keeps pulling away, crying. She's been out of sorts since the river crossing. Too much chaos. Too much fear in the air. Your younger sisters are already half asleep, slumped against each other, still chewing mechanically even though their eyes are closed. Your father and your oldest brother are talking quietly about tomorrow's route. How many miles to the next landmark? Whether to try for 20 miles instead of 15 to make up time. Your mother isn't part of that conversation. She's just trying to get the baby to nurse and eat her own dinner and not collapse from exhaustion. Around the circle, other families are doing the same thing. Eating dinner. Tending to children. Dealing with the day's disasters. The family who lost their child and their wagon is sharing a fire with another family. You can see them in the firelight. The mother's face is blank. Empty. The father is staring at nothing. You wonder if they'll make it. If losing a child breaks something in you that can't be fixed. If they'll just walk away one night and disappear into the darkness. But probably they'll continue. Because that's what everyone does. You lose things and you keep going. You bury your dead beside the trail and you mark the spot with a pile of rocks and you walk away and you don't look back because looking back won't change anything. This is what the trail teaches you. How to lose things and keep moving. You finish your dinner. Your mother collects the plates and wipes them with a rag. No washing. No water to spare. The sun is setting now. The sky is turning orange and pink and purple. It's beautiful, and you're too tired to appreciate it. Your mother is unrolling the bedding under the wagon. Your father is checking the oxen one more time, making sure they're all accounted for, making sure none of them are lame. You help your sisters with their bedding. The same wool blankets you've been using since Missouri. The same arrangement. 3 of you together, sharing body heat, sharing warmth. The fire is dying down. Your father adds a few more buffalo chips to keep it going through the night. Someone needs to tend it. Someone always tends it. Tonight it's your oldest brother's turn. He'll sleep in shifts, waking every few hours to add fuel, to make sure the fire doesn't go out. Because if the fire goes out, you have to start over in the morning. And starting over wastes time. And wasting time means falling behind. And falling behind means you might not make it to Oregon before snow closes the mountain passes. Everything connects. Every small failure compounds into larger failures. Every small success helps you survive another day. You crawl under the wagon with your sisters. The ground is hard and rocky. There's a stone digging into your shoulder blade. You shift position, but it doesn't help. You're too tired to care. Above you, through the gap between the wagon bed and the wheels, you can see stars appearing in the darkening sky. More stars than you've ever seen in your life. The Milky Way is a river of light stretching across the blackness. You think about the toddler who drowned today. You think about Oregon. You think about whether you'll make it. whether any of this suffering means anything. But mostly you just think about sleeping. About 8 hours of not moving. Of letting your body rest. Of darkness and silence and not having to walk. Your eyes close. Tomorrow you'll wake up at 4 a.m. Tomorrow you'll walk 15 more miles. Tomorrow will be exactly like today. But tonight, you sleep. And that's enough. The camp settles into evening like a body settling into rest after a long day of work. Slowly, gratefully, with small sighs of relief that no one voices but everyone feels. The sun is below the horizon now, but the sky is still light. That strange in-between time when day hasn't quite ended but night hasn't quite begun. The air is cooling rapidly. In an hour, you'll be cold. But right now, this moment, the temperature is perfect. The sounds of camp are changing. The sharp, urgent sounds of setup, men shouting, oxen lowing, chains rattling, have faded. Now it's quieter, softer, the crackle of fires, low conversations, a baby crying somewhere, then being soothed, a dog barking once, then silence. 40 families, 140 people, all of you squeezed into this temporary circle of wagons in the middle of nowhere, and somehow it feels safe. Feels like home, even though home is 2,000 miles behind you and you'll never see it again. You're sitting by your family's fire, close enough to feel the warmth on your face. Your sisters are on either side of you. Your youngest sister has her head on your shoulder. She's not asleep yet, but close. Her breathing is slow and even. Your mother is mending something. She's always mending something. There's a basket beside her filled with clothes that need repair. Shirts with torn seams. Dresses with holes worn through from constant wearing. Your father's pants that split at the knee 2 days ago. She works by firelight, her needle moving in and out of the fabric with practiced efficiency. Her hands never stop moving. Even when she's exhausted, and she's always exhausted, her hands keep working. Here's something you've learned about your mother on this journey. She doesn't know how to rest. Not really. She can sit down. Yes. She can stop walking. But her mind is always working, always planning, always managing the thousands of small details that keep the family functioning. Water levels, food supplies, who needs what clothing, which child is getting sick, whether the baby is nursing enough, whether your father's feet are getting infected from those makeshift canvas boots, whether there's enough bacon to last another week or whether she needs to start rationing even more strictly. She carries all of this in her head. Every calculation, every worry, every contingency plan. And she never complains. Not once. Not when she's been walking for 10 hours while pregnant. Not when the baby keeps her up all night. Not when dinner is burnt or the tent leaks or one of you is being difficult. She just keeps going. Just keeps working. Just keeps holding the family together through sheer force of will. You don't think about this most days. But tonight, watching her mend by firelight, you feel something you can't quite name. Not pity exactly. Something closer to awe. The fire. The fire is the center of everything. Not just for your family, but for everyone. Look around the circle and you'll see it. 40 fires, 40 families gathered around their own small pools of light and warmth. Fire is practical. Yes. It cooks food. It provides heat. It keeps animals away, or at least, it's supposed to, though you've never actually seen a dangerous animal near camp. But fire is more than practical. It's psychological. It's the difference between camping and surviving. It turns a random spot on the prairie into a place. Into somewhere you can exist for a night. Your father is managing the fire now, adding buffalo chips one at a time. Not too many. You need to conserve fuel. Not too few. You don't want it to go out. Just enough to keep a steady flame. He's good at this. Good at reading the fire. Knowing when it needs more fuel, when it needs more air, when it just needs to be left alone. He learned this on the trail. Back in Missouri, your mother did all the cooking, all the fire management. Your father worked in the fields. Completely different skills. But out here, everyone does everything. Your father cooks. Your mother drives the oxen sometimes. Your oldest brother makes decisions. You take care of your younger sisters in ways that would have been your mother's job back home. The trail doesn't care about who's supposed to do what. It only cares about what gets done. The fire pops and a small shower of sparks rises into the air. You watch them float upward, getting dimmer as they rise, finally winking out against the darkening sky. Your youngest sister is asleep now. Actually asleep, not just resting. You can tell by the weight of her head on your shoulder, by the way her breathing has deepened. She's only 5. 5 is too young for this journey. But she's doing it anyway. She walks 10 or 12 miles a day, not the full 15. She can't manage that, but she tries. And when she can't walk anymore, your father carries her on his shoulders for a while, even though he's already exhausted. You shift slightly, trying to get comfortable without waking her. Your own body is settling into that strange state where you're simultaneously exhausted and too tired to sleep. Your muscles are twitching. Your feet are throbbing in a distant, disconnected way. But you're not walking. You're sitting. The fire is warm. Your sister is breathing against your shoulder. And for the first time since 4 a.m., you're not required to do anything. This is rest. Not sleep. Not yet. Just rest. Just existing in a moment without demands. Evening camp has its own soundtrack. You've learned to hear it the way you learned to hear the creak of your wagon, the rhythm of the oxen's hooves. It's become familiar, almost comforting. The crackling of fires. That's the constant baseline. 40 fires burning, all of them making slightly different sounds depending on what's being burned and how it's stacked. Low conversations. People talking to each other, but quietly now. No shouting. No urgency. Just the murmur of families processing the day together. Making plans for tomorrow. Or not talking about anything important at all. Just talking because talking makes you feel human. Somewhere across the circle, someone is playing a harmonica. Badly. The notes are tentative, halting, like they're still learning. But it's music. The first music you've heard all day. It's playing something you don't recognize. Maybe something made up. Maybe something the player learned back home and half remembers. The melody is melancholy. Slow. It matches the mood of camp perfectly. Your oldest brother is sitting with some other teenage boys near another fire. You can hear them laughing. Not loud, raucous laughter. Just quiet chuckling. Someone said something funny and they're all enjoying it. It's strange to hear laughter tonight. After the river crossing. After the child who drowned. But maybe that's exactly when you need laughter most. Maybe that's how you survive something like this. By allowing yourself moments of lightness even when everything is heavy. The harmonica player switches to a different tune. Something a little faster. Someone starts singing along. Not the words. There might not be words, just humming the melody. Other voices join in. A woman's voice from one wagon. A man's deeper voice from another. They're not singing together exactly. Not harmonizing. Just participating. Adding their voices to the evening. Your mother hums along for a few bars, then stops. Goes back to her mending. But you saw her smile. Just for a second. Just a small upward turn of her mouth that means she's not completely buried under worry and exhaustion. The baby is asleep in the wagon. You can hear her tiny snores. It's the first time she's been quiet all day. A coyote howls somewhere in the distance. Just one. The sound is wild and lonely and makes you remember that you're surrounded by emptiness. That this circle of wagons is an island in an ocean of grass and sage and darkness. Some of the younger children whimper. They don't like that sound. It reminds them that there are things out there. Things that could hurt them if they wandered away from the circle. But you're not afraid of coyotes. Not anymore. You've heard them every night for 73 nights. They howl and they stay away. They're not interested in people. They're just out there, living their own lives in the darkness. Another coyote answers the first one. Then another. A whole chorus of them. They're talking to each other in ways you'll never understand. They sound closer than they probably are. The harmonica player stops playing. The singing fades. Everyone is quiet, listening to the coyotes. Then the moment passes. The coyotes move on. The conversations resume. The harmonica starts up again with a different tune. Something slower. Something that sounds like a lullaby. Your father is talking with two other men near the fire. Not your fire, one of the neighboring fires. But close enough that you can hear their voices, can catch pieces of what they're saying. They're talking about Oregon. They're always talking about Oregon in the evenings. What they'll do when they get there. What the land is supposed to be like. Whether the stories are true. They say the soil is so rich you barely have to work it. One of the men says. Just drop seeds in the ground and they grow. They say it rains so much you don't need to irrigate. Another man adds. Water just falls from the sky 6 months a year. They say you can claim 640 acres, your father says. Just for being there. Free land. As much as you can work. These stories are passed around every night. Stories about Oregon. The promised land. The place where everything will be better. Where all this suffering will be worth it. You don't know if the stories are true. Nobody knows. Nobody in your wagon train has ever been to Oregon. You're all following guidebooks written by people who went before, trusting that the promises are real. But here's what you've learned on the trail. People need stories. Need something to walk toward. Need to believe that all this pain has a purpose. So they tell the Oregon stories to each other every night. They elaborate on them. Add details. Make them bigger and more beautiful with each telling. Maybe the stories are true. Maybe Oregon really is paradise. Maybe you'll arrive and find rich soil and endless rain and free land and everything will be perfect. Or maybe Oregon is just another place. Just more grass and more work and more struggle. Only without the walking. It doesn't matter. Not really. Because the stories aren't about Oregon. Not really. They're about hope. About the belief that tomorrow can be different from today. That suffering is temporary. That you're moving towards something better. Without that belief, without those stories, you'd just be walking in circles. Suffering for no reason. The stories give the suffering meaning. One of the men laughs at something. My wife wants to open a bakery, he says. Says she's going to bake real bread with real flour and sell it to all the other families who are sick of hardtack. My boy wants to start a school, another man says. Says Oregon needs teachers. I'm going to build a mill, your father says. There's got to be streams there. Water power. I'll mill grain for everyone in the valley. These are dreams, plans, futures being constructed out of words and hope and nothing else. You listen to them and try to imagine it. Your father running a mill. Your mother with a real house. You going to a real school with other children. Sitting at a real desk. Learning from a real teacher instead of your mother teaching you letters by firelight. It's hard to imagine. The future feels less real than the past. Missouri feels more real than Oregon. And Missouri is gone forever. But you try. You close your eyes and try to picture it. A house. A room. A bed. A morning where you don't wake up to a gunshot. A day where you don't walk 15 miles. A life where your feet don't hurt and your throat isn't raw from dust and you eat something other than bacon and beans. You can almost see it. Almost. Your mother has finished mending. She folds the repaired clothing carefully and places it back in the wagon. Then she brings out her diary. This is her nightly ritual when she has the energy. Writing. Recording the day. Preserving some fragment of this experience for who? Her future self? Her children someday? God? You don't know. You've never asked. It seems private. Sacred. Almost. She writes by firelight, her handwriting tiny and cramped to conserve paper. The diary is already more than half full. She started it the day you left Missouri. She's written something almost every day since then. You wonder what she writes about. The miles traveled? The weather? The child who drowned today? Or just the small, ordinary details? What you ate? Who was sick? What time you made camp? She writes for maybe 10 minutes. Then she closes the diary and tucks it away carefully. She'll write more tomorrow. And the next day. And every day until Oregon. Recording this journey in ink, making it permanent. Your father is checking the oxen one last time before full dark. This is his nightly ritual. Walking around the circle, counting them, looking for injuries or signs of illness. An ox that goes lame can end your journey. An ox that dies is a disaster. So he checks them every night, running his hands over their legs, looking for swelling or cuts, making sure they're all still sound. Your brother is hauling water from the river for tomorrow morning. 2 buckets worth. Heavy, awkward work, but it has to be done. You'll need water for breakfast, for coffee, for washing faces if there's any left over, which there usually isn't. Your middle sister is supposed to be helping, but she's fallen asleep sitting up, leaning against the wagon wheel. Nobody wakes her. Let her sleep. She's 7. She walked 12 miles today. She's earned her rest. Around the circle, other families are doing their own evening chores. Checking wagons. Tending livestock. Preparing for tomorrow. Everyone has their routines. Their responsibilities. The chores that keep them alive. Nobody has to assign these tasks. Everyone just knows. You've done them so many times that they're automatic now. Muscle memory. Group choreography performed without discussion. This is what it means to be a family on the trail. Not the big moments. Not the river crossings or the storms or the deaths. But this. The small, unglamorous, repetitive work that fills the hours. The work that gets done whether you're tired or not. The work that no one notices unless it doesn't get done. Your father returns from checking the oxen. All good, he says to your mother. It's the same report he's made every night for 73 nights. The oxen are fine. Tomorrow you can keep moving. Your mother nods. She didn't really doubt it, but hearing the confirmation helps. One less thing to worry about. One less variable that could destroy everything. The sky is fully dark now. Stars everywhere. The Milky Way so bright it casts shadows. No moon tonight, or not much of one. Just stars and darkness and the small circles of firelight. The camp is quieting down. Fires are burning lower. Conversations are trailing off. Children are being herded toward their sleeping spots. Your mother picks up your youngest sister, who's been asleep on your shoulder for the past hour. She's heavy, 5 years old, maybe 40 pounds. But your mother lifts her easily and carries her to the bedding area under the wagon. You and your middle sister follow. Your father has already laid out the blankets in the familiar arrangement. The same arrangement you've used since Missouri. 3 girls together in the middle, your brother on one side, the wagon providing a ceiling and windbreak above. The ground is rocky tonight. Not comfortable. But you've slept on worse. You've slept in mud, in sand, on ground so hard it felt like stone. This is manageable. You arrange yourself between your sisters. Your youngest sister curls against you instinctively, seeking warmth even though she's still asleep. Your middle sister takes longer to settle. She's uncomfortable, shifting, trying to find a position that doesn't hurt. There's a rock under me, she whispers. Push it aside. You whisper back. I can't. It's too big. You reach under her and feel for the rock. It's embedded in the ground. Not going anywhere. Move over a little, you suggest. She shifts 6 inches to the left. Better. Not perfect, but better. Above you, your parents are still awake. Your mother is nursing the baby one more time before bed, trying to make sure she's full enough to sleep for a few hours. Your father is banking the fire, covering the coals with ash to preserve them overnight. Someone will need to wake in a few hours to add more fuel. Tonight, it's your oldest brother's turn. He's sitting by the fire now, alert, his rifle across his knees. He'll stay awake until midnight, keeping watch, keeping the fire alive. Then he'll wake your father for the second shift. This has been the routine for 73 nights. It will be the routine for another 60 nights. Guard duty, fire tending, the small vigils that keep everyone safe. You hear your mother humming softly to the baby. Not quite a lullaby, just a sound, a vibration of comfort. The baby's fussing quiets. Your middle sister's breathing is already deepening. She's asleep or close to it. The youngest one is completely gone, lost in whatever dreams 5-year-olds have on the Oregon Trail. You're tired. So tired. But not quite ready to sleep. Not yet. There's something about these last few minutes before sleep that feels important. Like you need to stay conscious just a little longer. To bear witness to the day. To let it settle before you let it go. The darkness beyond the firelight is complete. Absolute. There are no distant city lights out here. No street lamps. No windows glowing warm with candles. Just darkness. The kind of darkness that makes you understand why humans are afraid of the dark. But you're not afraid. Not exactly. You've been sleeping in this darkness for 73 nights. It's become familiar. The darkness is where the coyotes live and the wolves live and all the invisible things that could hurt you. But it's also just dark. Just the absence of light. And inside the wagon circle, with the fires burning and your family around you and 40 other families in their own pools of light, the darkness doesn't feel threatening. It feels almost peaceful. Like a blanket. Like privacy. The darkness means no one can see you. No one is watching. You can just exist without being observed. During the day, you're always visible. Always in sight of other families. Always aware of how you look, how you're moving, whether you're keeping up. There's no privacy on the trail. Everyone sees everything. But at night, in the darkness, you disappear. You become invisible. It's the closest thing to being alone that you ever experience. You can hear the sounds of other families settling for the night. A father's low voice saying something to his children. A mother singing softly. Someone coughing. Someone else telling someone to be quiet, to go to sleep, to stop fidgeting. These sounds are comforting. They mean you're not alone. Even though you can't see the other families, you can hear them. You're all here together. All surviving together. All heading toward the same destination. The harmonica player has started up again. Very quietly. Almost too quiet to hear. Playing something slow and sad and beautiful. You don't know what it is. Maybe something from back home. Maybe something they're making up as they go. The melody drifts across the darkness. Other families can hear it too. You know because the rustling and shuffling noises quiet down. Everyone is listening, letting the music fill the space between the wagons. It's just a harmonica, just simple notes. But out here, in the middle of nowhere, after a day like today, it feels like something more. Like a reminder that beauty still exists. That humans can still make beautiful things even when everything is hard. The song ends. The harmonica player doesn't start another one. Just lets the silence return. And somehow the silence feels different now. Softer. More peaceful. Your father has climbed into the wagon to sleep beside your mother and the baby. You can hear the wagon creak slightly as he settles his weight. His bedroll is spread across the wagon bed. It's not comfortable. The wagon bed is hard and there's no padding, but it's better than the ground. And at his age, with his back aching from driving oxen all day, better than the ground matters. Your mother will sleep sitting up, leaning against the side of the wagon, the baby in her arms. She always sleeps like that now. Partly because the baby won't sleep any other way. Partly because she can't get comfortable lying down when she's pregnant. So she sits, and she half sleeps, and she listens all night for the sounds that mean someone needs her. Your brother is still by the fire. You can see his silhouette against the flames. Sitting very still. Very alert. Taking his duty seriously. He's 14. He thinks he's a man now. Out here. Maybe he is. Age doesn't mean what it used to mean. Childhood ends fast on the trail. You either grow up or you don't make it. He'll do fine on his watch. He always does. And in a few hours, your father will relieve him, and he'll crawl under the wagon and sleep until the wake-up gun. And then everyone will do it all over again. Sleep coming. Your body is finally giving up. The adrenaline from the river crossing is gone. The pain from the walking has dulled to a distant ache. Your muscles are relaxing in spite of the hard ground. Your eyes are closing, opening, closing again. Each time they stay closed a little longer. You're not thinking about anything specific anymore. Your mind is drifting. Images floating past without connection. Missouri. The river today. Oregon that you've never seen. Your grandmother's face. The ox's tail swishing. Stars. Darkness. Fire. Your sister shifts against you and mumbles something in her sleep. You can't make out the words. Maybe there are no words. Just sounds. The fire crackles. A log settles. Sparks rise briefly and fade. In the distance, maybe miles away, a wolf howls. Just one. Long and lonely and wild. Nobody stirs. Wolves stay away from people. Everyone knows this. The howl is just sound. Just another part of the night. The stars will slowly overhead. The same stars you've seen every night since Missouri. The same constellations. They're the only constant in a world that changes every day. Every morning you wake up 15 miles farther west. The landscape changes. The weather changes. People join the train and leave the train and die on the train. But the stars stay the same. And that means something, though you're too tired to work out what. You think about tomorrow. Another morning. Another 15 miles. More dust. More heat. More walking. The same dinner. The same exhaustion. On and on and on until Oregon. But you'll make it. Most people make it. You just have to keep walking. Keep doing the work. Keep waking up when the gun fires and keep moving forward and keep believing that all of this has a purpose. Your eyes close and this time they don't open. The camp is settling into full silence now. Just the sounds of sleep. Breathing. Snoring. The baby making small noises in her dreams. The fire crackling. The night settling over the prairie like a blanket. Somewhere an owl calls. Another answers. The darkness is complete and the stars are bright and the circle of wagons is an island of human life in an ocean of emptiness. But inside the circle, you're warm enough, safe enough, fed enough, alive. Tomorrow you'll wake and walk and hurt and endure. But tonight, you sleep. And the sleep is deep and dreamless and merciful. And it wipes away the day's pain and gives you just enough rest to face tomorrow. The fire burns lower. Your brother feeds it. Your father will relieve him soon. The night passes in shifts and stages. The stars turn. The darkness holds steady. And everyone who survived today will wake up tomorrow and do it all again. This is the Oregon Trail. Not glory. Not adventure. Just endurance. One day, then another, until you get there. Or you don't. But tonight, you sleep. And that's enough. That's everything. Sleep now. Tomorrow is miles away. This day, this single, ordinary, unremarkable day. You'll do it again tomorrow. And the day after. 150 times. 150 mornings of waking at 4 a.m. to a gunshot. 150 days of walking 15 miles through dust. 150 evenings of bacon and beans and bone-deep exhaustion. Multiply today by 150. That's the Oregon Trail. And here's what should stagger you. Most families made it. 80%. 4 out of 5 wagons that left Missouri reached Oregon. Not because they were heroes. Not because they were special. But because they showed up every single day and did the work even when everything hurt. They kept the fire alive. They yoked the oxen. They walked. One step, then another, for 6 months. Not thinking about Oregon. Just thinking about the next mile, the next task, the next moment. And then one day they looked up and they'd crossed a continent. You don't need to be extraordinary to do extraordinary things. You just need to be willing to do ordinary things for an extraordinarily long time. The teenage boy who walked today didn't feel brave. He felt tired. His feet hurt. He wanted to stop. He thought about quitting 1,000 times. But he kept walking. Because everyone around him was walking. Because stopping wasn't really an option. Because the only way out was through. And 6 months later, he stepped off the trail in Oregon and realized something that changed his forever. He was capable of more than he'd ever imagined. You are too. Whatever trail you're walking right now. Whatever seems impossible. Whatever hurts so much you don't think you can take another step. You have the same capacity those pioneers had. The same ability to endure. To persist. To show up tomorrow and do it again. Not because you want to, but because you can. Because humans are built for this. Built to survive things we don't think we can survive. Built to walk trails we don't think we can walk. One step, then another, then another. That's all it ever is. That's all it ever was. And one day you'll look up and realize you made it. Not because of one heroic moment, but because of all the ordinary moments added together. But tonight, you don't have to walk anywhere. Tonight, you can rest. Fully. Completely. Without the wake-up gun waiting. Without miles ahead of you. Without anything demanded of you at all. Tonight, you just sleep. Let your breathing slow. Let the weight lift. Let everything become soft and distant and unimportant. The stars that watched those pioneers are watching you now. The same sky, the same darkness, the same quiet that settles over the world when the day finally releases its grip. You're part of that same story, that long chain of humans who kept walking even when it was hard, who survived because they refused to stop, who made it not through strength, but through showing up, day after ordinary day. Tomorrow you'll have your own miles to walk, your own fires to build. Whatever your life demands, you'll wake up and face it. But tomorrow is impossibly far away, separated from now by the deep, dark ocean of sleep. And sleep is here. Can you feel it? That heaviness, that softness, that gentle pull away from the world and into rest. Let it come. There's nothing you need to do. The fire is tended. The oxen are sleeping. The trail is waiting, but it can wait. Everything can wait. Your job right now is simple. Just breathe. Just let go. Just sleep. The ground is holding you. The darkness is holding you. The story is holding you. You've walked far enough for one day. You've done enough. You are enough. Rest now. The stars are turning. The night is holding steady. And somewhere, across all the years, a teenage boy is falling asleep under a wagon after the hardest day of his life. He doesn't know yet that he'll make it, that his feet will heal, that the pain will fade, that one day he'll tell his grandchildren about the trail and they won't quite believe him. But he'll make it, because he keeps walking, because he does the next small thing, because he rests when it's time to rest. Just like you will. Sleep now, deep and dreamless and peaceful. Let the day dissolve. Tomorrow you'll walk again. But tonight, you've walked far enough. The trail can wait. Oregon can wait. Everything can wait. Sleep.